Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We've got Preeti, Corporate Affairs Director from BMW Asia. Thanks so much for joining me today on our first work from home, whiskey from home, WFH series.
Thanks for having me. I don't have whiskey, but I do have a glass of wine.
Yeah, well, I've got my whiskey. There we go. Shall we?
Fantastic.
Shall we both take a sip to start?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who are joining us, we're going to be talking about crisis communications in the age of coronavirus with Preeti. So let's start like really, really simple, okay? What's your normal workday outfit like these days?
These days it's my workout outfit. I actually get dressed in my gym clothes, so after I'm done working, I can immediately go and work out. And that's just how it works. I think this might be the first time I've gotten dressed up in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, maybe.
Good, isn't it?
Yes, it does feel nice. It changes it up a bit.
Right. So in your BMW team, you guys don't have like a certain dress code for working at home?
No, it's basically whatever works. One of the team members has a little girl as well, so he's got to handle that. And yeah, it's whatever you're comfortable in. Right. Considering you're at home.
Okay, because I was interviewing this managing director of a luxury watch business, and he was telling me that their dress code is business shirt, tie, and jacket, even when they're at home. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, I haven't put that in place. I've actually been attending calls in my gym clothes, so this is, like I said, first time I'm actually dressed up.
Okay, cool. Okay, maybe you can share like a couple of your work from home tips.
Work from home tips. First, set a schedule. It's one of those things where if you don't set a schedule to take breaks, step away from your computer, like working lunches, don't work, right? Because then you never actually stop working. And I find it hard to actually stop working at the end of the day. Usually if you leave the office, you go from there. But here I have to make it a point to say by 5 o'clock, by 5:30, by 6 o'clock, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go do something. Another tip is just to get out. I mean, I know you're supposed to stay at home, but in terms of getting exercise, whether it's, I do online workouts in addition to going for a cycle or going for a run, just to kind of keep moving, because otherwise you just stay stagnant in your home. And I'm sure it's lovely for everybody, but after a while you go a little stir crazy.
Yeah. Are you guys practicing like flexi hours?
Yes, I mean, at least for my team, I can speak for my team. Definitely, it's whatever works best for you. One of my team members, Amanda, she gets online fairly early. I get on an average time with Francis. Depends on what's going on with his little girl. So I think it's much harder for anybody with kids to actually have normal work hours, right? Because obviously your kids aren't used to having you there, so they probably want to spend more time with you, and they want to be involved, right? They see a video conference going on, and for them it's just like, ooh, let me see who's there, what's going on. So
yeah. What kind of tips do you have for like other managers or bosses in managing your team? You've got like 2 or 3 on your team?
About 3 on my team. Well, me included, yeah.
Right.
So keep in contact with your team. For example, I try to, on Monday, just chat with them, whether it be through video, Skype, or through a call, just so we can get in touch. And I'm constantly in touch with them, whether it be through Skype or through WhatsApp, etc., just to kind of make sure that the communication is still going. Because that's one thing that I personally miss from being in the office, is physically seeing people and communicating with my team.
Right.
I may over-communicate, but that's okay. I think it's really important to do that, and also just to make sure, understand that everybody's work life is different. Like home life is different right now. Some people have kids, some people have helpers, some don't. There's family members at home, they're flatmates, like you never know, so you have to make sure that you keep in mind that everybody's got a different situation going on, and it's not going to be so easy as saying, pick up the call and immediately say, hey, let's chat. You've got to give them a little bit of time to be ready and be prepared.
Sure. How about managing expectations in terms of like the work output and productivity expectations?
It's about trust, honestly, for me. I mean, I trust my team to get the work done. They know what needs to get done. At this point in time, I think everybody at least I hope that everybody on the team, whether you're my team, other teams, they know how important it is to continue working. They want to keep the business going as much as they can as well, right? So it's in their best interest and the company's best interest to keep working. So I'll set up with the team and just ask them, like, what are you working on this week? Do you have time? Do you not? Are there any restrictions, right? So whether, if they have a partner in their family, they have to watch their kids alone. So obviously it's going to be a little bit less in terms of being able to do outlet, but you have to be flexible. That's the one thing. And you have to set goals if you need something done by a certain time, but understand that it's going to take a little bit longer to get things done now than it used to. Then again, if you're at home alone and you don't have anybody else there to bother you, can actually concentrate more. So you can sit there and actually focus more, and you might get things done sooner. But there has to be open communication between you and your team, between your colleagues, to say, here's what's going on right now. I'm having a tough time with X, or I can get this done. I've got a block of time. But if you've got kids and you have to homeschool them, then that's also a challenge. So I think this whole working from home thing requires a lot of being flexible and open to understanding that it's not going to be the same as if you were in the office.
Right, okay. How about responsiveness? Do you still expect them to respond really promptly, or?
Yeah, I don't expect them to respond. My team responds with pretty immediately, and if they can't, they respond saying, I'll get back to you in an hour. But I haven't seen a lag in response, at least not from my team. They've been quite good.
Okay, cool. Okay, on a personal note, how do you draw clear lines between your work inside your home? So do you have certain boundaries or rules in place, you will not do work in your bedroom and only in the living room or in the study?
So in the beginning, I was definitely doing work in my room. I was definitely doing work in my bedroom and just getting up and working on my bed. But now I make it a point to get out of my room and I have a high bar table as my dining table, but sit at the table, get set up, and make sure that that's where I actually do the work. And so the work stays here and I don't continue on after that. So I leave the laptop here and that's it from the end of the day.
Okay. All right, let's talk about crisis communications now. And okay, let's take a sip. Idea.
Might as well.
Right, and media engagement during this crisis, right? So one of the first things that every business and brand had to do was to, or should have done, was to create a crisis communications plan. Could you share the plan that you've developed for BMW?
Honestly, when this all started, when the whole coronavirus thing started coming up in, say, early February, there was no handbook. There was nothing in my 20 years, of working. Yeah. I've never seen, there's no handbook for a crisis comms such as for a crisis comms handbook for something like this, for a pandemic. And the thing is, in the beginning, it was just China, or it was Asia, and it wasn't until weeks later that it started to move to other parts of the world. So there was no handbook. Everything had to be done on the fly. I had to actually look to colleagues, even if I looked to colleagues in headquarters, even they weren't prepared. They weren't ready for it, because at the time it hadn't gotten that far. So week by week, as everything changed globally, regionally, locally, we had to kind of keep in touch, and I had to rely on my colleagues who were in different parts of the world. So Australia, Korea, Japan, China, waiting to see what were they doing, how could we adapt what they're doing and do it here. But it's still changing, because every day something different happens, right? Or not every day, but as regulations change and measures change in Singapore or the region in Malaysia or Germany, etc., it changes. So it has to be a working document, and not even a document. It has to be, as things happen, see how it goes. If this happens, then we'll plan that. But it's not as easy as it's not one of those situations that you would have expected to come up. So
definitely. Okay. Yeah. What's in your plan? Can you share?
My plan right now is to get through the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
To get through, no, because most of what we do, at least for our role here, is a lot of it is physical interaction, right? You get with obviously with yourself and with other journalists. It's making sure that we give you the cars, and that's the big part. It's less of a stress on me and more of a stress, I think, on you guys, because for you to do your work, you need to have access to cars, and it's something that we can't physically do right now, right? So right now I'm trying to, at least now that it's extended for another 5 weeks or so, the plan is to keep in touch with all my regular media contacts, whether that be a video call or shooting them a message, just to kind of keep the conversation going, see what we can do in terms of stories that are more, a little bit lighthearted, a little bit more lifestyle focused, less about buying a car and the specifics, but it depends on the publication. Depends on if it's an automotive publication or a lifestyle one. But I have to think about it. For me, it's keeping the brand top of mind, but at the same time, not actually pushing it too hard. Right. There's a knock at the door. If you just give me 1 second.
Okay, sure.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. Just give us a minute while Preeti goes to see what's at the door.
Thank you.
Look. What's that?
I'm guessing it's wine from you, maybe. Thank you.
So
okay,
I thought it'd be really fun to send you something during the show.
Oh wow, there you go. I won't be drinking it now, but
if you want to open it now, go ahead.
No, that might take a little bit of time. It's not twist off.
Okay. Yeah. At the end, I'll share a little bit of details on that bottle.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
A little bit in time. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are the do's and don'ts right now when it comes to engaging the media during this time against this whole backdrop of the pandemic?
In terms of engaging with media?
Yeah. What are the do's and don'ts?
I mean, I think it varies. Once again, I think you have to just be very sensitive to what's going on and check in with them. If I'm going to check in with my journalists, one of our journalists, unfortunately, was stuck outside of the country for a while and only just got back. Maybe a week ago, so he's hanging out at a hotel at the moment under quarantine for 14 days. So checking in with him on occasion to make sure that he's doing okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not pitching stories, honestly. I'm not pushing any content out. If there's a story that someone is working on regarding COVID-19, regarding marketing strategies, sales strategies, what we're doing right now, because we have to change our business strategy in terms of engaging with customers. So from a marketing perspective, obviously we can no longer have customers come into the showroom. So we've now created a digital showroom online, and any customer can go, anybody who's interested who has the time can go there and check out what the different cars that we have available, all money leases, even special. We're doing a very there we go, supporting local in terms of sorry about that, just give me 1 second, messages coming through, supporting local F&B. So we've created this digital showroom, right? We're also still putting out content in terms of cars that are available if they're interested now to explore them, but obviously they won't actually get delivery until everything's back in place. Mm-hmm. But I think right now it just depends on what comes out, right? It depends on what's happening. We recently sent out a activity care package, right? Virtual activity care package to the media that had some BMW podcasts on there to listen to, and the Spotify list that BMW has curated for the best road trip music. Cause it's always nice to have something different in the background, some DIY games at home for the kids. And that's kind of where at least my communication strategy is right now, is to make it softer, kind of understanding what's going on right now in the market, and just keeping people informed. Obviously, if anybody is looking for information, we're more than happy to share it, but I'm not proactively pushing out anything at the moment, because everybody's focus right now is on staying healthy and staying safe and staying sane in the season period, right? How do you keep yourself occupied when things are this busy? But it's also, I guess for me, it's part of it is the strategy with the media. Part of it's internal. Well, a lot of it's internal comms for me right now, and how to engage, keep the staff and the employees engaged, because like I said, everybody's situation is different, so they need a little time outside of work to kind of decompress. So trying to kind of do that as well.
Yeah, I thought that was a fantastic initiative, and I really enjoyed. My favorite was the car soundtrack for the couch idea.
Yes.
I haven't done the baking challenge yet. Maybe next week we'll see.
It looks a bit intense, honestly, so I don't know if I'll actually do it, but...
Can we expect more local initiatives in this area?
Yes, I mean, right now, so BMW teamed up with Kiss 92 just this week to do a collaboration. So it's part of this campaign, Together We Bring Joy, of actually supporting local F&Bs and bringing joy to listeners of Kiss 92. So people can SMS, and you can go to Maddie, Jason, and Vivian in the morning and message them what brings you joy during this period, and they can stand a chance to win either breakfast from Summer Long or dining experiences from Fat Prince and Neon Pigeon. So that's one way to kind of do something. We're also working on initiative to sponsor meals to deliver for healthcare workers. So we're also working with the Dandy Collection group of restaurants to do that as well. So it's a work in progress, but we'd like to do more. I think it's it's difficult right now in terms of, because you have to get approvals from the government, etc., for you to get exemptions to volunteer, and obviously it's challenging at the moment. But those are a few things that we're working on at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when this whole outbreak began, I had a lot of friends in PR agencies, kind of like asking me for advice. Should they be like reaching out to the media at this point in time? Should they be engaging with the media and all that? And should they be launching new products or pushing brand news to the media, right? So we touched a little bit on that just now. Right now, I think it's about branding rather than promoting. I've been doing that as well. Yeah. Would you say the strategy now should shift towards branding and brand messaging rather than promotion?
Yes, I mean, I think it's really important to keep brand top of mind, but also show that you're understanding what's going on in the market, right? You understand in terms of what the global situation is, what's happening locally, right? You're not ignoring that. So everything we do from PR perspective, from a marketing perspective, the communication the wording has to be right. You have to be very sensitive to what you're saying, how you're saying it, because you don't actually know what's going to happen. But I know that strategies, whether it's comm strategies, marketing strategies, have been changing every week or every few days, depending on what comes out from and what changes and what's happening at the moment. So I definitely think, like, we did send out a press release because we had a few cars that have just now are now available, right? So, but it was more of an FYI. If you want to look into it, if you are interested, these cars are now available. When the showrooms come back open, please come in and see them in person. Right. But I think full-on pushing products, I wouldn't recommend, at least not for non-essentials at the moment. I think it can come off a bit insensitive if you push those. Yeah, right. So F&B would be okay? I think F&B is fine, especially right now. There's that whole initiative to support local. So many F&Bs are struggling right now, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, you have to go to a delivery or takeaway model only, and their whole business is going. And maybe they did it a little bit before, but a lot of it's based on the experience that you have and being there. So they're struggling. They're struggling a lot, and they're making it through, and they're pushing through, but it's not easy, right? So I think the initiative to support local F&B is fantastic, and anything that we can do to do that would be great. Yeah. So how should brands be crafting their messages and narratives right now in this climate? I think you just have to be... I think you just have to be very careful. I mean, honestly, it's just you have to take into consideration more than you did before who's going to be reading that, what's happening in the market. You can't just put something out very blankly. It has to have emotion to it. You have to make sure that there is some sort of feeling behind everything that you're putting out, and saying, I understand that we're in difficult times. However, here's what we're trying to do. We are trying to help X, Y, and Z. We'd like to make sure that, for example, what we're doing with our Joy campaign and Together Let's Bring Joy, like, let's come together and work together, and everybody still needs a little bit of enjoyment in their life right now, especially during this period. So I think communication should be a lot more emotional than we probably did before. I think before it was easier to just say, here's what we're going to put out, done, great. Now you have to think a little bit more, think with your heart, if that makes sense, and put yourself in the reader's position, put yourself in your audience's position. How are they going to feel if they saw this news article, or if they saw this social media post, etc.? You have to think a lot more.
Right. So I think sensitivity and empathy then.
Yes.
I like what a lot of the car brands are doing on like social media, on IG. The whole like Stay Off the Roads campaign and all that. I think that's really clever.
Yeah, that came from, well, obviously a lot of brands are doing it, and our competitors are doing it. BMW is obviously doing it, and I think that's a global thing. Every business is still running, but at the same time, our employees, our customers, they come first. Right now, it's shifted. Like, the business is still important, yes, and now is probably the time to start thinking about how can we improve the business in the next 6 weeks? How can we improve the business? What can we do after COVID-19, right? After the circuit breaker period. Nothing will be the same. I've spoken to a handful of people, and everybody says that life will no longer be the same. Yeah. I don't know when the next time is that we're going to have a large gathering of people, or when you'll be able to go to a restaurant to enjoy a meal with friends, right? So we have to think now is use this time to say, what can we do with the business now? But also, how can we look at changing how we do business in 3 months from now?
Right.
Or 2 months.
Back to my next question, because that's exactly it, right? Nothing's going to be the same after this. So I'm very curious about how brands are recalibrating their entire business models. And especially in the car industry, like, we've seen how pollution levels are decreasing dramatically. Transportation will be so affected and changed after this whole pandemic. I think the automobile industry is having like a much larger impact. And with cars off the roads, planes grounded and all that. So assuming that the human race survives this whole pandemic,
they will, not
what does
the will.
In the automobile industry look like in the New World Order?
Honestly, I have no idea. I think that this might be the push we might need to go towards more electrified cars, right now, just because I'm not saying, like, there's a lot of things that contribute to pollution in terms of factories and, not just cars, it's buses, it's everything, right? Yeah. But for the automotive industry, it might be the push that we need to actually look into plug-in hybrids or electric vehicles, right? And right now, this could be the time to say, well, we really need to look into this, because see how much, if we can do our part by bringing that to life. I mean, BMW already has a number of plug-in hybrids and electric vehicles are coming out and stuff. So it's not just about us. It's everybody, right? It's not just about the cars being available, because they have been available. It's about people actually being interested and exploring, and now being willing to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to do my part, and maybe I'll look into that now.
Do you think the authorities will also provide more support after this, maybe?
One can only hope, but there's no guarantee. I mean, obviously Singapore is just getting into it now, and starting 2021, there are more support in place there. Ideally, over time, it'll change and we'll get more support, but we can only hope. I mean, this is one of many things that everybody has to think about, right? Like, do you bring in, hybrid buses or electric buses? And, there's a lot of other, how much do you have people work from the office anymore? Do you have it cut down to only working from home, working from home twice a week? So you have less people on the roads.
Right.
Yeah.
So on this very serious note, I want to do something really fun.
Okay.
So we're going to do a quick fire round of questions.
Yeesh. All right.
Okay, and the rule is if you take like more than 3 seconds to answer, you have to take a sip of your wine. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I have enough wine, but all right.
Well, you got a whole bottle there now.
Well, yeah.
So the first few, just complete these sentences. Ready?
Sure. Huh.
Okay. Good PR.
Bad PR.
Okay. That was my next question. Bad PR. Finish the sentence. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, finish this sentence. It's better to
be aware of your audience. No, I don't know. That's bad. I don't know. I'm not really good at these questions. I think you have to
Okay, no worries. The next set is true or false. True or false. Public relations is a dark arts.
True.
Okay. Julian's saying that Preeti needs a wine penalty.
All right, Julian. Can you drink? Oh, and one shot.
I'll join you. Okay, true or false? Bad publicity is better than no publicity.
Ooh, false.
Okay. Number 3, public relations is a mix of reality bending, perception manipulation, creativity, politics, and wizardry. True or false?
False.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I waited too long for that one.
Yeah. Okay. All PR people are fake.
False. Definitely false.
And perception is reality. True or false?
It's reality. True.
True. Okay. And reputation is everything.
Well, maybe.
Okay. Number 7, you have to trade in your soul to be a damn good at PR.
No, definitely false.
Okay, I like this one. Most journalists are a-holes.
False. Definitely false. Julian, you're great too, don't worry.
Last one. Communication directors deserve a spot in the C-suite.
True.
Cool. Okay, Final 3 questions. What time does happy hour start in this new WFH norm for you?
8 o'clock, probably after I work out. Yeah.
Okay. And how many rolls of toilet paper do you have right now?
What? What was the question?
How many rolls of toilet paper do you have in your house right now?
8.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And final question. What's the first thing you're going to do once the circuit breaker and lockdown measures are lifted?
Go out for dinner. See my friends.
With me?
Yes, definitely with you. Are you buying? Because I'll definitely do that.
Okay, that's about it. Thank you guys for joining. Can we see the bottle again?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to thank Enjoy Italy, which distributes premium Italian wine. That's one of the best that they have, they told me. And thank you so much, guys, for delivering this pretty last minute, I would say. And everyone, I do have a great deal for you. If you go to their website, www.enjoy-italy.asia, you can get 25% off wine orders if you quote my code JN25 off. I'll put it in stories later so you guys can have a look.
Thanks so much for having me. It was very interesting to have my first IG interview. So.
This is my first interview on IG Live too. So thanks.
I think we did okay.
Yes, this is making history, man. So, thanks everyone for watching till the end with us. We hope this session added some value for you guys. And if you have any more questions, please drop them in a DM or message me or Preeti as well.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Yeah,
I'm free. I've got time now.
So until next week, take care, stay safe, and stay sane. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.